So I guess we're just gonna kind of talk. Okay, we're live. Okay.
What's going on, y'all? We're back once again with another live stream today. Tonight is going to be the Batman spoiler discussion, and I brought on a returning guest to my channel. You guys remember him from my biggest surprises of 2021, my buddy Eric Thorpe. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on. Especially to talk Batman.
Yep. Yeah, since because you posted your review on Letterboxd at one point about how much you really love the Batman, I was like, I got to get you on here, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was like anticipating. It was my most anticipated of the year, so I was kind of set to love it. I'll admit, but doesn't change the fact I think of how good it is nonetheless.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I left the link in the description below that goes to Eric's channel, so go check him out. And he's getting close to 100 subscribers, so let's get into that milestone as well. And also for me, hit the subscribe button. I just hit 175, getting close to 200 and counting. So hopefully we can get there very soon. And also thumbs up as well, because it's beneficial for us to get our content out there. So, what were your first thoughts when you were going into the Batman?
Like before I saw it,
Yeah,
well, I was just thinking like, man, these trailers are like the trailers to me even looked like the best movie trailers ever, basically. So I was just like, and The Dark Knight has pretty much always been my favorite movie since I've seen that movie. So I'm pretty big on Batman, to say the least. But the fact that I was going into this one thinking that it actually looked like as good as those Nolan movies, and then maybe it could be even better, I was just like, I almost like, I don't know, it was like kind of like didn't seem quite real. I'm like, oh my god,
right,
this is the first like Batman movie really in like 10 years. Cause like since like The Dark Knight Rises, right? Because all the Ben Affleck ones in between, I actually like him in the role too, but he never actually had a Batman movie.
right.
He was just in other people's movies, kind of. So yeah, I don't know. I was just like, holy shit. I don't know. I was just like, I didn't. Okay, and one thing I didn't know also, I was wondering where this movie would fall in terms of like what kind of plane of reality it would fit into, because I feel like the trailers didn't really tell you, because we knew this was a brand new universe and everything. And we
Right,
knew like with the Nolan ones going into them, I knew they were going to be kind of a grounded Batman. And obviously the DCU Ben Affleck stuff, we knew it's not going to be grounded because it's got like Superman and everything in it.
right.
So this one I was like, okay, where is this one going to fall? I feel like maybe somewhere in the middle. And I almost admit after seeing it, I still almost feel like I'm unsure where it falls. Definitely feels like more to the Nolan side of things, but I almost am still wondering, like nothing in this movie happened that like was all that ungrounded, I would say. But
Right.
I'm wondering if in the future is there room for like some more kind of comic booky elements to come in, because the aesthetic felt very comic booky, despite what actually takes place in the movie still being probably about as grounded as the Nolan movies.
For sure, yeah. And I was just expecting a good Batman movie going in because we didn't get, like you said, haven't had a solo Batman movie in like a decade or so. So I was like, okay, let's see how Edward Cullen can play as Batman this time around.
Yeah, I'm.
And
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'll let you finish.
but yeah, I went and saw this with my dad since because out of my family, he really loves Batman because anytime the Dark Knight comes on TV, he will always play the Dark Knight. Like anytime I've gone down, or even the Dark Knight Rises or Batman Begins, like he loves that Nolan trilogy. Because anytime I've gone downstairs and saw like a Batman movie playing on TV, I was like, I always think to myself, my dad loves this stuff, so I figured I'd ask him if he wanted to go see the Batman with me, and he ended up doing that with me. So I went and saw the Batman with my so like I told you, I went and saw the Batman with my dad. Um, he did enjoy it for the most part. He said he liked it. Um, but for him, it felt a little slow for him since because it wasn't like as action heavy as he thought it would have been. But when you think in reality, um, if a certain Batman movie should be action heavy, you're basically kind of setting your expectations a little too high. I should
Yeah,
say because
I mean, yeah, I mean, they were obviously focusing more in on the detective side of Batman, which they haven't really much in previous live action versions.
And I'm glad that Matt Reeves actually decided to, like, hey, we're not just going to focus on action stuff here. We're actually going to tell a dark detective story talking about this. So,
Yeah, no, because I mean, Batman, he's not just like one of the world's greatest fighters, yeah, he's the world's greatest detective. And it's nice to kind of have a more cerebral Batman movie where it's
right.
about Batman using his smarts because he is I would say, one of the superheroes that's has to rely on his intelligence more than a lot of others, right? So,
Exactly. Yeah. And plus, anytime like there's a Riddle that pops up, like anytime the Riddler has one of his victims, he always tends to figure it out like right away. And I'm like, I wish I was like that. Like where I could
yeah,
just like figure stuff out like right away and just be like, um, go after this guy.
yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I mean, that's how we should feel. We should feel kind of dumb compared to Batman, though. I mean, I mean, I guess similar to Iron Man, like his intelligence is really his superpower. His
Right.
intelligence and his money.
Yeah, exactly. And also at one point, like after my best friend and I saw Jackass Forever, we were actually going to plan on seeing the Batman together. But then a few weeks later, he told me that he was going to see it with his dad, since because he had a tradition like where he saw the like movies with Batman in theaters with his dad. He saw The Dark Knight Rises in theaters with his dad. He saw Batman v Superman in theaters with his dad. So, but he didn't get to see it last weekend because he was sick. So I was like, if he sees it this time, I hopefully he'll tell me what he thinks, because this movie was a game changer for me. My dad obviously did not enjoy it as much as I did. I mean, he liked it, but obviously not on the level of like where I'm at with the Batman.
Yeah, I mean, I feel similar. Like a lot of people are like when I said, I mean, for me, it's like tied with The Dark Knight. I don't know. For now, I'm saying like, yeah, sure, it's my favorite movie. It's like tied. Like they're both just so good, right? But it's nice to I just want to like, I mean, maybe over time I'll be like, oh, maybe The Dark Knight's a bit better. But for now, I'm just appreciating like just how good this movie is. And I think
Right.
people are like kind of, I don't know, they're not, I think maybe at least it can be people maybe that aren't necessarily huge Batman fans. Then I get why this isn't necessarily like hands down the best one or something. But if you're like really a fan of Batman and like the comics and everything, like this one really brings it all to life so faithfully in like a way we haven't even seen before. And to be fair, I think the Nolan ones were quite faithful despite being really grounded. Like
Yeah.
it's, but I think this one just kind of takes what those ones did and just adds a few more touches to make it feel even more faithful. So like, yeah, I think I can see why people would like The Dark Knight or something even more. I think that's still the more groundbreaking movie overall. But just as a Batman fan, focusing in on Batman and like the Riddler is no Joker, I don't think. I think he's really good in the movie. But I'm
Yeah.
not judging the movie. I feel like some people judge Batman movies almost more just on the villains than they do on Batman. And I think you got to look at just how right they get Batman in this movie and his relationship with Catwoman and everything. It's just like
Right.
so good.
Exactly. Because sometimes when I talk to people about the Dark Knight, they just basically kind of just look at the Joker and they don't look at like the other characters like Batman himself or Commissioner Gordon or Alfred or anything like that. They don't do that. Like they just look at the Joker, and I'm just like, you guys are kind of missing the point. Like,
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, like the Joker's like hype for that movie is fully warranted.
well, yeah, for
But
sure, but I'm just saying, like, you can't just view the Dark Knight just on the viewpoint of the Joker.
yeah, I think if it was only the Joker that was as good as he is, the movie wouldn't be considered like the masterpiece that it is. Like if you look at the rest of the movie, some people really are only interested for the Joker, but the whole movie's fantastic. Like
Right.
the dynamic with Commissioner Gordon and Harvey Dent and Batman, like just everything. It's like a really tightly knit story. It's this really great crime epic, and the Joker just happens to even elevate the whole thing further. But
Correct. Yeah, exactly.
and I feel like this movie is very similar. Yeah, maybe it doesn't have a Joker level kind of thing that's like putting it over the edge for some people, but like it really is getting like kind of that dark, gritty crime element that The Dark Knight did so well. I think about just as right here.
Yeah. And also, they actually make and this one they actually make the Riddler a more menacing character than he was in Batman Forever. Like,
Oh well,
because in
okay.
Batman Forever,
I mean,
it's a
honestly,
good
I'm not a
character.
big fan of almost any of the pre-Nolan. Like, I mean, not the movies overall. I think like the Tim Burton ones are pretty good, but like especially the villains, I think they, despite them being kind of the spotlight, I feel like most of the villains they get kind of almost completely wrong in all those pre-Nolan movies.
Like they just felt very cartoonish. Like that was.
Like,
I'm not
I mean,
downgrading.
maybe I'd say the best one, but I almost don't consider Catwoman a villain, so it's hard to say. But the one that's like really good in those movies is Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. She's like the standout, I think. But
Yeah,
even
for
like Jack
sure.
Nicholson's Joker, I think is good, but kind of overrated.
I like. It's not necessarily a downgrade on Batman Returns for me because I absolutely love Batman Returns, but there were times where I thought that Danny DeVito's Penguin was a little bit too cartoonish.
Yeah, honestly, so I rewatched like every Batman movie, like theatrical Batman movie, but pretty much going into this, or well, I watched the Snyder cut instead of Justice League 2017 because I don't like that one. but I mean, and I know the Snyder cut wasn't technically theatrical, but that's the version we were supposed to get in theaters, or
Right.
closer to it at least. It probably wouldn't have been that long if it came out in theaters, but I mean, yeah, like really, yeah. Batman Returns actually, I know a lot of people love that one, but on rewatch, I gotta say it went down for me, if anything. I think the only thing I really do like a lot about it is Catwoman. The rest of the movie, there's just so little Batman, so it barely feels like a Batman movie. And then the Penguin, it's not bad, but yeah, it's just I don't know, it feels like unnecessarily like off-putting. Like it's just unpleasant to watch the Penguin in that movie. Like
Like
he's
I
just nasty. And like
like
it's not like it's even true to the character or anything.
and like when I watch that movie, like I really don't see the Penguin. I just see Danny DeVito in just white makeup. That's all I see.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's why I thought I used to think I preferred Batman Returns over Batman 89, but on rewatch, I like Batman 89 more because at least even though there's a lot of focus on Joker, you still get a lot more Batman in that one than you do in Batman Returns.
For sure.
And just
Yeah.
the feel of Gotham and everything, that's actually probably I don't know, either that or Batman Begins probably have the nicest feeling Gotham in live action until this movie.
Yeah, for sure. I gotta say what's up to some people in the chat. My buddy Gold Pizza Brand Bo Alston on Instagram. What's up, buddy?
Hey, man. Yeah, I remember from the stream the other night, both these guys. So
Yep,
good to see
Alex
you guys.
Lopez, also one of my best friends here on this week on YouTube, and also my co-host on my Jackass Watch Along series. So, but thanks for stopping by, Gold Pizza Brain. Since he hasn't seen the
Oh
Batman,
yeah, man. Take it. Yeah, definitely, definitely get
please go
out of
see
here.
it.
Don't let us spoil it for you.
Yeah, so good thing you said that you wanted to stop by, but because we're gonna get pretty heavy into some spoilers here in just a little bit. Batman could overtake the Dark Knight.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I mean, right now it's like that's why I'm just kind of like I don't know. I'm just embracing this movie right now. I think they're really on par because both. I think each one kind of falls short but exceeds the other in different ways. So
Yeah,
I think they really. I think it's most people seem to at least be on board with the idea that these are kind of the two best Batman movies.
yeah, for
I think
sure.
I don't know. I mean, and I love like I'm. It hurts me to even say that because I love Batman Begins and The Dark Knight Rises as well. Like they're like I literally like yeah like the whole Dark Knight trilogy and this movie like yeah 4 Batman movies that are all in my top 10 favorite movies. Almost half my top 10 is Batman now. But then again, I'm biased because I'm a Batman fanatic.
I don't consider it bias either, buddy. I'll just say that I don't consider
They're
it
just yeah, they're
bias.
such good movies.
Like, like if you're a Batman fan, you're a Batman fan. Like saying like also that I'm a Ghostbusters fan. Like, am I favorite film of all time is Ghostbusters. So,
Yeah, yeah, fair enough.
yep. The Upside Dan. I haven't seen him
Oh,
here
hey
before, but
Dan, yeah, oh
welcome.
yeah, Dan's a good buddy of mine, and I
Yeah,
think yeah, I was
welcome,
just
Dan. Thank you
tuning in
for.
he was on another channel doing a spoiler talk on Batman as well. So I was tuned in the chat there as well.
Yeah, but thanks, Dan, for stopping by, man. I'm happy to see you here. So, and one thing I got to say about this version of the Penguin that we have in this movie, Colin Farrell's Penguin, phenomenal.
He might have been my favorite. I was saying just in the other stream in the chat, I think he might have been like, I don't know, everyone in this movie was phenomenal, but he might have been the one I just like had the best time watching. Like he's my favorite version of the Penguin in like any iteration in like comics or anything like this. I've never been like, I don't think the Penguin or even the Riddler, but like they've never been my favorite Batman villains. But I'm like, oh my god, I could watch Colin Farrell as the Penguin like all day. He is just
Yeah, and
like
he's
he's like kind
so
of over the top and hilarious, but also like you know how that's something I'd say though sometimes when something's like so bad it's good, but he's not so bad it's good. He's like so like he's legitimately good, but also like weirdly hilarious. I think in almost
like
this unintentional way, if that makes sense.
yeah, like he's so quirky, but in a way, he knows how to make it funny.
Yeah, he's
Like
like over the top. He's like out of I don't know. Yeah, he feels like he's out of like some I don't know, like some Martin Scorsese movie or something. Like I don't know, and it's probably even too over the top to be even saying a Martin Scorsese movie, but I don't know if you know what I mean. Like I just loved it. Like like when they're showing him the pictures of the police commissioner guy that got killed in the rat trap thing, and he's
yeah,
like, "Come on, what are you doing? Why are you showing me that?" Like, I liked how he was like kind of a sensitive penguin. Like he's this big tough like mobster guy, but at the same time, he's like, oh, he doesn't want to see like gory pictures or anything. He's like, oh no. It
oh
was just
no,
I just loved him.
yeah, and also I love the prosthetic makeup that Farrell was given. Like it really made him so unrecognizable to me. I was like, that does not look like Colin Farrell at all.
I mean, yeah, you can just barely kind of make out his eyes. That's about it.
Yeah, but his voice, like whenever he like, especially that scene that you see in the trailers, like when Batman's chasing the Penguin like down the highway, like I got you.
Like
I
there were
was like,
so many lines like me and my friends were like laughing with each other like at what he's saying, but in a way like not like yeah, not like that we're really laughing at him, like making fun of him. Like he's great, but he's also really just funny in this quirky kind of way like you said.
like
He's
he's like
just
one of those like quirky comedians that like it like makes a joke that like pops out to you, and it's just like that was
yeah,
good.
but also he's still like he still feels like a threat. Like
Exactly,
I don't know, he's
for
just I don't know,
sure.
if I could just describe him in one word more than anything, he is just entertaining as hell. Okay, well, not one word, but he is entertaining. Like you don't want to
Definitely,
take your eyes off him.
yeah. I definitely think that they did a better job of the makeup, and it honestly made it look more accurate to the actual Penguin.
Yeah, so
Like,
basically the opposite of what I said about Danny DeVito, where I'm like, oh, he's just like off-putting, and I don't want to watch him. It's
like,
pretty much the opposite. A Colin Farrell, I'm just like, oh my god, I can't get enough of him.
like I just felt like even though Colin Farrell obviously like interchanges like with his roles and everything, I felt like he was playing so against type with this version of the Penguin. Like because yes, he has played a villain before, but he hasn't played like one so funny and like such like a threat as he does in the Batman.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Well, I remember he was in what? He was in like Daredevil as Bullseye, right?
And it wasn't really that
Yeah,
menacing.
I don't really like it. I watched that movie once and mostly blocked it out. But I really like
Mark
Colin
Steven
Farrell
Johnson's
overall as an
Daredevil.
actor. I'm just trying to think of what else he was a villain in, but like other than Daredevil. But
But yeah, but I think also that I don't know,
oh,
man. Like it's like saying like trying to think of something. The
I think
prosthetics can definitely make an actor unrecognizable. Like it does for Colin Farrell in this movie for sure. But for me, like when you think about prosthetic makeup, you really also have to transform your character and not just be like this person that's just like claiming that he's going into the method territory just because of his makeup and also his accent. Hi, Jared Leto.
yeah.
I mean, despite how much I loved House of Gucci, um, yeah, I'm not gonna. His performance is definitely, um, yeah,
Yeah, Jared Leto.
yeah. What the heck happened? Lost Eric, y'all. What'd you do, dude?
Sorry, I meant to like click something in the chat and I like X'd out the window by accident.
Yeah, but yeah, but Jared Leto like literally claimed in House of Gucci that he was going into the method territory with his role as Paolo Gucci, and I'm like, the prosthetics are good, but your accent just
Yeah, that's
is
a
hit
good
and
point
miss.
actually. Like some people were mentioning like is Colin Farrell great in the movie or is just the prosthetics great? But yeah, you're right cuz Jared Leto in that movie has great prosthetics, but Jared Leto is not great in that movie. So,
He's hit and miss with me. Like his prosthetics, like I said, were great. He did good for what he was given, but his accent though, ugh,
see he was another one I found hilarious, but it was in like a kind of so bad it's funny
the
way.
the wrong way. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah,
whereas Colin Farrell was just funny, but he was like great.
yeah, for sure. And also another example of like unrecognizable with prosthetics. What about Gary Oldman from Darkest Hour, where he played as Winston Churchill?
I still actually need to see that movie, but I know it. Yeah. I'm actually surprised I haven't got around to that one cuz I love Gary Oldman.
Yeah, and he won Best Actor for that role, which I was like, okay, that works for me because he
Man,
did a
I
good.
mean, I would have nominated him for like the Dark Knight trilogy, especially the Dark Knight. Like he's that's the one thing I will say. It's like I can't believe that I didn't think any actor would actually like be able to touch Commissioner Gordon after that. But I
Yeah,
gotta say, Jeffrey Wright, I wouldn't say I like him more, but he comes really close. Like he is when as soon as he was cast, I was like, oh yeah, he would be kind of great in that role.
yeah, for sure. Um,
Oh, yeah, and I'm just gonna say hi to my buddy Jace in the chat too. That's Berger Rokar's his YouTube name, but yeah.
oh yeah, I'm gonna say that was an accident. I thought it was a troll comment. So
Oh yeah, no worries. That's why I saw that and I'm like, so then and then when I was like clicking to tell you, I like accidentally X'd out the window.
yeah, but yeah, that was an accident. I thought it was a troll comment. So
No worries, man.
yeah, but also speaking of threats, let's talk a little bit about Paul Dano as the Riddler.
So do you want me to go first?
You go first, man. You're the guest.
Okay, so again, similar to Penguin, Riddler, not one of my favorite villains per se of Batman. But I will say, I think I think he gives a great performance, and it's definitely the best live action Riddler, I'd say.
Oh,
And I could
easy.
definitely, yeah, I mean, yeah, there's not much competition, but I mean, at the same time, he plays the Riddler perfectly. It's just I don't think the Riddler, even when done perfectly, is like he's just I don't know. He never really feels like a main villain to me in Batman. So I kind of feel like I've said this to actually to my friends Dan and Jace in the last stream that just through when I was in the chat. Like I do kind of think that the Riddler, I feel like he's gonna kind of be like to this new trilogy or this new franchise or whatever, sort of what the Scarecrow was to the Dark Knight trilogy. You know how the
Right.
Scarecrow almost, I guess, a bit different because the Riddler actually did turn out to be the main villain of this movie, whereas Batman Begins, Scarecrow is kind of like you think he's the main villain, but then he's not really. But still, he's more prominent in that first movie, and then he just kind of has little cameos in the next two. And that's kind of what
Right.
I think the Riddler's going to be in the sequels. I think he'll maybe a bit more prominent than the Scarecrow, but I do think he's going to be more of like a side villain in the future. And we'll get the kind of bigger, more, I don't know, what I consider more threatening villains like Joker or, I mean, I'm going through just the Dark Knight trilogy again, but Joker and Bane. I mean, Joker obviously is like the villain. And then, I don't know, to me, Bane has kind of always been like the next up one. Like he's a different kind of threat to Batman, but But yeah, I just think the Riddler was great in this movie, but at the same time, he's pathetic, right? In the end, he's smart. He's also like he's totally pathetic. I mean, he's literally like crying almost at the end, like because Batman's not being that says he's not his friend.
He's like, that's not the way it was supposed to go.
Yeah, and that was great because I think that is the character to me, and maybe he can. I think in the sequels, maybe he'll kind of like how he is in the Arkham video games. If you play those, he pretty much always has a side mission in those games, and if you don't have to do his missions, and man, they're annoying. Like I've got all the Riddler trophies finally in like Arkham City and Arkham Knight, and there's so many, a lot of YouTube videos looking up how to get those, but. I think that's sort of. I mean, I don't think Batman's going to be going around collecting Riddler trophies in the movie because that would be stupid. But I mean, yeah, I think he's gonna like maybe be like working as an underling in the future. Maybe I mean to the Joker. I don't know. I don't want to get too far ahead, but yeah.
For sure.
So
Yeah.
that's my thoughts on the Riddler. Executed the character really well, but even when that character is like done perfectly, he still just kind of feels like a C tier like Batman villain to me.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. But again, like I said before, they actually make the Riddler more of a menace, more than just a cartoony character like they did with Jim Carrey. So like Jim Carrey's like always cartoony, but I'm
But the
saying like
weird
with this.
thing, so I was just gonna say the weird thing still is in Batman Forever. He still doesn't seem that bad in that movie because Tommy Lee Jones's Two Face is so much worse. It's so much
Yeah,
more
it,
like
like,
wrong and not the character. But okay, yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
but Tommy Lee Jones's Two Face makes Jim Carrey's Riddler like the best villain like out of the entire franchise. Like even like through the two Joel Schumacher Batman movies, and I'm just like, really, Tommy
I
Lee?
have kind of a hot take. I don't know. My favorite my favorite from those two movies is Poison Ivy.
I don't know, man. It's
The
just
movie is worse. Batman for Robin is terrible. It's a worse movie than Batman Forever. But I do think, considering it's like a campy take, I feel like Uma Thurman actually is pretty good as Poison Ivy. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like thinking with things other than my brain, but yeah.
yeah, but also like you can tell that Tommy Lee Jones did not want to be in Batman Forever. Like you can tell. Like
Yeah,
it
he's just
just
I don't know. Both it just feels like he's playing like some other version of like Jack Nicholson's Joker.
it just feels like he was just there for a paycheck. Like that's exactly what it feels like for Tommy Lee Jones as
I
Two
mean,
Face.
he just seemed like it's not that he wasn't giving any energy in the performance he was. It's just it seemed like he wasn't playing Two-Face to me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's another
Sure.
friend of mine, Jamie. Hey Jamie.
Yeah. So, sorry, Bridge Rokar for blocking out the first one. I thought it was a troll comment, but thanks for coming in. Understanding that this is Eric's least favorite Batman movie. Jamie, yep, also Miss Club. The Riddler in this was like a true. Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, he was that's the thing. He was really scary until he kind of wasn't at the end, I think I would say. But yeah, even I don't mean to keep like stealing from the last stream I was just watching, but they did even mention like at the end, like yeah, that is kind of similar to maybe how a lot of true crime killers might be. Like, you know, they
Yeah,
are
and then
kind of
like
intimidating, but then when they're like locked in a cell and everything, then they I don't know, might be kind of like acting like children at times because they're just that crazy.
yeah, and plus like once we got like the face reveal, like when he was getting arrested, I was like, you could have just showed us your face on video, bro. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's why I think in the sequels, if we do see him again, I think he'll have now that his identity is revealed. I think he will have a more like traditional kind of Riddler look, like maybe with
Right, for
the
sure.
hat or whatever, and maybe like a jacket, and not like the whole gimp getup, which I liked in this movie as like a starting point or kind of an origin for Riddler. But
Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
But yeah, I loved Paul Dano as the Riddler. Definitely. I definitely can understand where you're coming from, like about him, like him in jail and kind of acting like a kid at times. But like for the times that he was out actually murdering people, like out in Gotham, I was like, holy crap, dude! This dude is a menace.
Oh yeah, no, he's definitely like he was scary. He similar to I definitely like I noticed this kind of used like shouting to a similar effect that some of the Dark Knight trilogy does. Like there's times in those movies characters like really shout loud and it's like, holy shit, okay, this movie's intense. Like those are
Yep.
like there's like yeah, parts with the Joker and I think even Two-Face or Harvey Dent, like there's parts where they just like yell and it's like it really catches you off guard. And I remember there's definitely parts with the Riddler where he's like, Gotham will finally reveal its true face. And it caught me by surprise. So yeah, he was scary at times, I will say.
Yeah, and also that scene where they where he has this like one guy like up to like a bomb like on his neck or something like that. Um that scene I was like I thought this in my head for a second and I was like, what are you, Jigsaw? It's like
Yeah, it was. I guess that's the thing. It was this movie did have a lot of kind of similarities to the Dark Knight, right? Like he did feel like you're saying Jigsaw, but that's also kind of probably to me like seems like Heath Ledger Joker-ish. Like
yeah,
a lot of things like him doing the videos when he murders people, also like Heath Ledger. Yeah, it was very much like the Dark Knight in terms of like that kind of like the way they play the Riddler, almost like the Joker.
yeah, especially like since because, he felt like he was actually kind of playing a little bit of a game like with his victims
Yeah,
in
yeah, for
Gotham.
sure.
So
Um, yeah, that was a pretty that funeral scene was pretty sick. I love that was a part I really liked.
yep.
Just like it was just another part you really get to feel like the comic booky Gotham, like just seeing that, like all those buildings with that really kind of more gothic kind of feel. I mean, that's the only thing that was kind of I don't want to say missing from the Nolan trilogy because I think they fully achieved what they were going for and they weren't trying to go for that gothic feel. And
Right.
I appreciate that Batman can be that more realistic kind of version too. But I'm just saying it was nice to have that kind of in a Batman movie that's really just as good.
Yeah, for sure. And Jamie says he also looked like Jeffrey Dahmer.
So I've heard
Like
that
I
name. I
guess
don't think I really know who that is.
is exactly about the Riddler. He says, and also Dan says, the glasses and the hair definitely look like. Yeah.
I don't actually. So I know that name, but I don't actually really know who Jeffrey Dahmer is.
Yep. Let's see. And like when the bomb explodes like on the neck, like it
Oh
just
yeah.
was like it just felt like a jigsaw trap that you couldn't win. Like
I mean,
it,
yeah, like, well, if he won, then it sounded like basically that information was gonna get not only him killed later, but his family killed too.
right, for sure.
But I just want to say, yeah, I have heard people say this, and I will agree. This is probably the one element where I'm like, okay, maybe it really doesn't feel as grounded as Nolan's movies. Not that they didn't have like a heightened reality feel to them too, but like Batman in this movie, this is can we agree this is like the most invincible Batman in live action we've ever seen?
Yes.
Like so like let alone just for the like obviously he gets shot point blank so many times. Like this is the most bulletproof bat suit ever. And also on top of that, though, that part where the bomb goes off, he doesn't even like step back. He's just like, okay, I'm just gonna let the bomb blow up in my face,
Well, the bomb blew in my face, and
and
then he
then
just
he's
like freaking
fine.
jumps back.
And then he's fine. Yeah, I don't know because that's even like the one part that's like exposed, and he doesn't even have like a mark there. So I will say, okay, that was I didn't really
Yeah, and
mind it, but it's
also
just something I noticed.
yeah, and something that I also liked about Pattinson's Batman is that there were times like where I actually kind of felt intimidated by his Batman. Like,
Oh yeah, no, I will say like I'm torn on whether I would say like Christian Bale's always been my favorite. And I'm torn because I don't think Pattinson's Bruce Wayne necessarily is like as good as Christian Bale's, but I think he's about on par because his Batman, I think, is the best Batman.
yeah, like especially like you guys remember that shot in the trailer like where that upside down shot where he's walking towards the penguin after his car flips over, he rams into it, flips over, and then that upside down shot, I'm just like, chef's kiss, because that shot is probably the best shot of the whole movie in my own opinion. Like I love that shot.
Wait, sorry, which one? Oh,
The
the
shot, yeah, the
okay,
shot like after he um runs over the penguin's car and basically makes it
yeah.
flip.
Oh, flip.
That kind of
Yeah.
reminded me. That kind of reminded me of the car crash scene from Casino Royale in some ways, but
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, like it just like flips over like a
except
couple
like
times.
Bond tried
Yeah,
to make his car turn sideways so he could avoid hitting a Vesper, but
yeah,
that
that's true.
obviously went wrong.
And I think didn't that like set like they didn't even intend for it, but that like set some record for the most times there at the time anyways that a car like flipped in a car stunt in a movie, I think.
Yeah,
And they didn't even
and I
intend to
think
do that or something in Casino Royale. I don't know. Sorry, side
I
tangent.
think so, but like I think with the Batman, I think it already has like its competition like already up for heat. So I was like, bro, if a car could flip that many times after being rammed into, I'd be like,
Yeah,
that's
like people
science.
are very invincible in this movie.
Yeah.
Like the penguin also, like he's just I don't know, I guess he's wearing a seatbelt so he's okay, but
Oh
yeah.
man. But yeah, I love that scene and the penguins are marching after like the explosion happens. I'm just like, that's what I call some comedy gold. Like he's like, oh, I got you.
That
I
was yeah,
got you.
that was hilarious. I mean, even though it was all like in the trailers, yeah, it was just
Yeah, for sure.
everything the penguin was gold. Like honestly, I love the penguin so much in this movie. So I
Yeah.
was kind of iffy on because that's going to be like an HBO Max series too, right? The penguin.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm kind of iffy on that, but then I'm like, oh, but I mean, I just
Yeah.
want to watch Colin Farrell's The Penguin, so I guess I'm down.
Yeah.
I hope that
Well,
doesn't mean he's not going to be in the other Batman movies too, though, because I want him to be like how I'm saying the Riddler might be in the next few movies, like a side villain. I want to continue seeing the Penguin as well.
yeah, I
It's like not
agree.
even I don't even see him so much as a villain. Maybe he's not even going to be the one Batman's ever going after, but he's always going to be the one Batman's going to for information because he's always going to have connections with all the criminals Batman is after, right? He's always going to be someone Batman's going to be interrogating in
Yeah,
like every movie. And I hope every interrogation is as hilarious as the one that follows, like this car chase scene.
yeah, I thought that was really funny. And also, we also really should talk about John Turturro in this movie as
Yeah, Falcone.
yeah, Falcone. Yeah,
Yeah, I
that
like how much they incorporated like the kind of crime mafia element, not just like super villains and stuff, similar to like what they did in
yeah,
Batman Begins.
yeah. I mean, it. I don't know why, but there were times where I felt like this was becoming like a mafia film, since because you have John Turturro as the crime boss in this film, but not as the not as our like actual villain.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I'm like. It really does feel like it almost feels like they're kind of decided after like I feel like they mostly let Matt Reeves do what they want, but I feel like they let him do what he wanted because he said, "Okay, so I'm kind of gonna steer away from that more cinematic, universe like cosmic kind of thing you're trying to do that's like kind of copying Marvel almost with the DCU and he's going to go back to a more kind of like Nolan-ish type Batman and that is those movies are crime movies really. They're crime epics first and foremost and this movie is that as well.
Yeah, but then there were times where just like it was not just a crime film; it just becomes like this kind like sometimes like mafia style film where it's just like um where it's like it's hard to pinpoint a genre for the Batman. Well, obviously it's an action and crime movie. That's pretty obvious. But
I mean, I've heard people say noir and I'd say that's pretty
yeah,
accurate too.
yeah, for sure. And yeah, Turturro was great in this film for sure. Let's see. And that scene like where he got shot, I think he got shot, or was he?
Yeah, I
Was
think
that?
he got sniped by the Riddler.
No, I think it was by. No, I think he got shot by the Penguin actually.
No, that was I've seen the movie a few times, but like, so the penguin like pulls out the gun to shoot him, and then they get him, they pin him down. He's like, I didn't shoot, but a shot did go off, and it was the Riddler. like from the window with the
Oh yeah, that's
sniper.
right. And I was like,
And so I guess because at some point he tells Batman that he needs to bring the rat into the light, and so he literally brought. I guess he didn't intend to, but he brings him into the light and like the light of like the street lights or whatever, so that the Riddler can finally get at him.
right, yeah,
It's
yeah.
what
Sometimes I
did?
just can't really remember things.
Oh man, I've seen the movie 4 times, so it's all good. So
Oh yeah, but yeah, that scene where
I,
he
I
got
remember
shot.
actually, honestly, after my first time, I was like, I don't know. I rarely, especially with big blockbusters like this, I'm always like, okay, what did I just watch? And usually, like the second time, I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
So, yeah, honestly, if I just saw it one time, I would probably know it less. Like, I would not know it as well as you do. I don't think.
yep, for sure. And also, I'm trying to think of like another scene we can talk about. That climax scene, like where the flood's happening, like in Gotham City. Like I,
Oh yeah, my friend John now in the chats, throwing in some funny comments.
yep. In a scale from 10 to 10, how handsome is Eric? And also, what are the thoughts on the Batmobile? I love the look of the Batmobile in this movie.
Probably the It's so hard to say now because like at this point, as much as people dump on DC, we have like so many good Batman movies at this point. Like as much as you can say they screwed up their universe or whatever compared to Marvel, like I think still as a Batman fan, we're like pretty spoiled with how many just great, at least standalone Batman movies we have.
Yep.
Like for me, I'm not. Some people even think that about the Tim Burton ones. I'm not quite there, but if you like those, then great, even more great ones. But for me, yeah, it's like the Dark Knight trilogy and now this. And I really mostly, even though they're not Batman movies, I enjoy the Snyder stuff, even though I know they have their issues.
For sure. Yeah, I get that.
But yeah, so I guess in terms of the Batmobile, I don't know. All the last three have. I mean, it's between this. This is probably the best one. I don't know, but I really like the Tumbler as well from the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah, for sure. And and that climax scene, like where there's like a flood going on in Gotham, like that felt intense. And also like the scene like where they're like where there's like a bunch of imitations of the Riddler because of the mask, the glasses, and they're like all on top of like this like little stair kind of thing.
Sorry, John just offended me in the chat. He said he didn't like the Dark Knight Batmobile, but yeah.
Boo. Boo.
It's a tank. What's not to like? But I will say, some people did point out to me. I think this is like maybe is this the first Batmobile that like legitimately does not have guns on it or anything,
Yeah, I think it
which
is.
is
Like
nice because I know Batman didn't use them to kill people or anything. Like
right.
at least in the well, okay, Ben Affleck did, but in the Dark Knight trilogy, he didn't use those guns to kill people, more just to like get objects out of his way. But that
Right.
being said, it still does feel weird to have Batman use guns in any capacity unless we're talking about like Punisher Batman, like Ben Affleck. But traditional Batman, it feels weird to use him have guns in any capacity. So that's another thing that I think makes this feel like, in some ways, the most faithful kind of Batman from the comics.
Yeah, for sure. And I think and like the way that Batman just like heals himself during that climax scene, I'm just like if I could actually heal myself like that, I'd just be like, how did I just do that? Is it like a magic trick?
Wait, which part? So when he heals
Like,
himself, did you say?
yeah, it was like when he healed himself.
Like
Like
when he sticks the thing in his leg?
yeah, then it just somehow like magically just heals him.
Okay, yeah. So again, people even in the last chat, but even before that, my friend who I saw it with did say they kind of, I mean, it could be adrenaline or something, but yeah, a lot of people are saying that it's like venom, like the stuff that Bane uses. Like,
Oh,
so it's just like it's adrenaline times 1,000. Maybe that's why he can suddenly go up and like pummel that guy after like being almost dead.
yeah, for sure.
So
Just
I don't
thinking
know how
about
that'll
that.
play in or why Bruce Wayne has venom, but yeah.
Yeah, and I did like the chemistry that he had with Catwoman
Well, yeah, I know
Batman
we
had.
haven't barely even talked about that, but like, yeah, probably With this, I'd say I know with some of the other ones, like the Riddler, we were like, oh yeah, best Riddler so far. Not really saying much, but I would say best Catwoman, and that's saying a lot because we've had. I don't think there's really been a bad Catwoman, unless you're counting like Halle Berry, but I don't really count
I
that.
mean, we've had like Michelle Pfeiffer, and we've had Anne Hathaway as Catwoman. Now we
Yeah, and
have Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman.
yeah, and I mean, like I think yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer. Obviously, everybody loves her. I feel like she's the most praised Batman villain, other than like Heath Ledger, possibly. And then for me though, I like Anne Hathaway as much or more personally than Michelle Pfeiffer. Just nothing against Michelle Pfeiffer, but again, I feel like those Nolan movies just understood the fundamentals of all the characters more than the Burton movies did. So I
Right.
like that it's more she's focused on being like a thief and is just trying to like get by and everything, and not she's not just a crazy lady with a whip. Not saying I don't love Michelle Pfeiffer as in that cat suit as a crazy lady with a whip. It's awesome. I love it. But I just think the Anne Hathaway one in some ways, even though it's more kind of like a subdued performance, I think it was kind of the truest adaptation of the character so far in movies. But I
Yep.
will say Zoe Kravitz just kind of even does that, but even better because
Yep.
she's like right out of like the graphic novel, like better comic run Batman Year One, which this movie takes a lot from.
Yep. You're
Again, Catwoman, like Daredevil, is one of those ones I probably saw like once over a decade ago, and then I
I
was
never
just
watch
like,
him again.
I'm almost now in this like Batman craze since I've watched like every other Batman movie. I'm kind of like, there's a part of me it's shown up like on demand now. It's one of the rare ones comic book movies I don't own or anything, but it is on like the Crave, which is pretty much our version of, oh god, my hair. HBO it's pretty much our version of HBO Max here. It's on that now. So there's a part of me it's like, maybe if I'm in the mood for to laugh at a movie, then I'll watch that.
I think Catwoman is just one of those movies that I just didn't really find like so bad that it's good. I honestly found it to be one of the most boring comic book movies I've ever seen in my
I
life.
mean, yeah, I haven't seen it like other than that one time, so I can't even remember, but I was listening to like a podcast on it and they were talking about just how hilarious it was. I'm like, oh, maybe this would be funny to rewatch.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't know.
Yeah, I get
It
that.
might just be one of those movies where it's just like, um, maybe it could be like so bad that it's good that some people say it is, but then there are other people that are on this island that say, uh, this movie is boring.
Yeah,
So
I mean, yeah, I get that too. But yeah, sorry. So we went on that Catwoman tangent, but yeah, Zoe Kravitz in this movie. Yeah, like weirdly enough, this one is I don't know if you're like into the comics or not, but like Batman Year One and The Long Halloween pretty much are the two pretty clear inspirations for this movie, it seems.
yeah,
And weirdly enough, those are kind of the two same comics that inspired like Year One pretty much is Batman Begins. That's the inspiration for it. And then Long Halloween is The Dark Knight. So this one kind of rolls elements from both of them into one movie.
yeah, for sure. It definitely,
And again, one thing Batman Begins didn't take from Year One was the whole Catwoman part, which that's like almost feels like the biggest thing it took from Year One. Like she feels exactly like Catwoman from that story.
yep,
And even the way she scratches Falcone is like that happens in Year One. And then in Long Halloween, which even though it's a different writer, I think is perceived as a sequel to Year One. And Falcone didn't die in Year One. So he actually has that scratch from Catwoman, the whole kind of thing. And then also the fact that she's his daughter is right out of Long Halloween as well. So I was predicting going into this movie that that was going to be like a plot point where we find out Catwoman is Falcone's daughter.
yeah.
Okay, sorry, I said a lot. So what are your thoughts?
But yeah, I love Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. Selena Kyle, I thought she was great in this movie. She has great chemistry with Bruce Wayne slash Batman. I mean, yeah, definitely they have their odds with each other, but
Man, like, yeah,
you
I
can't
I
really.
mean, I think this is probably the best romance ever in a comic book movie that I can think of.
I agree. Actually, I agree with you
Like
there.
honestly, there's so many scenes. Like, I mean, again, I'm partial to maybe Batman and Catwoman being a Batman fan over other superhero pairings, but still, like, just like honestly, the final scene is one of my favorite parts when they're just like racing each other, and it's like it's really like it was so romantic.
Yeah, I was
And I
just
love
like
it.
it just does that. Like they just like go in opposite directions just to be just like that. Like because the relationship was good for sure, but it definitely feels like they should have just stayed with each other.
Well, I mean, I think it's pretty clear. I mean, she's going off to do her own thing. This honestly reminds me also of another thing it kind of reminded me of was the Batman Telltale games. I don't know if you've like checked those out, but it is similar and there's been 2 seasons of that and Catwoman does kind of meet him similar to like for the first time when he's early in his career like this movie and then at the end of that season she kind of goes off and does her thing and then in season 2 and this is kind of what I'm hoping like cuz I feel like we should talk about like what we kind of want in the next one cuz obviously this is so clearly setting up like a trilogy or at the very least.
Yeah,
But like um but yeah, in that one, like Bruce Wayne, even in season 2, becomes like he goes undercover as a criminal with some of like iconic Batman villains, like as Bruce Wayne though, not as Batman. And
right.
then Catwoman happens to be like involved with them too, and she knows in in that story that Batman is Bruce Wayne. So that's sort of how they reacquaint themselves in that version. But yeah, I guess this Catwoman still doesn't know. He knows Selena Kyle's Catwoman because she doesn't have much of a disguise, but
Yep.
I guess she still doesn't know in this continuity that Bruce Wayne is Batman, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, especially like during that nightclub scene, like where Selena goes and like goes in disguise, it kind of like I guess kind of, and then basically just like trying to communicate with Batman, trying to get answers about certain things. I'm just like, I don't think you two could be a good team. Like, but then later on, they actually become a good team. But then obviously, they have their odds, obviously. But then,
Yeah, and all the like one thing I was nervous about going to this movie was since they already did this kind of a lot in the Dark Knight trilogy, since they already did that very traditional Batman take where he has all the rules about like not killing or anything, and from the trailers, people were saying, "Oh, this Batman looks really brutal." I'm like, "Oh no, is he going to be like a homicidal Batman?" Which I'm okay with sometimes, like if you want to go Snyderverse, something kind of out there. But
yeah,
like if we're doing, I don't know, it's not something I wanted for this Batman. I wanted like a proper, you know, pretty like grounded in his code kind of Batman.
yeah,
So
like a more gra- like a
I
more
liked it had the classic kind of dynamic with him and Catwoman where she's like, she's not a bad person, but she is like willing to kill worse people if they're getting in her way or whatever, or if they're messing with her. Whereas Batman kind of keeps her from like crossing that line, which I love. That's like just that's why it was just like their relationship in this was really just like Catwoman and Batman's relationship across all kind of forms of media, just encapsulated perfectly for this one movie. I think.
Yeah, I agree for sure. And my buddy Movies and Train Studios is in the chat. He also did watch the Batman when that came out. He loved it. So glad you did, my friend. Um, and before I think we got a couple more things I want to talk about here.
I mean,
Um,
there's a lot. It's a long movie.
I know, but we can't talk about like there's some things that people don't really like. They want to like have like surprises, even though I know this is a spoiler video, but still. I mean,
Okay, are we gonna talk about? I don't know if you remember, dude. What the second last scene? Do you remember what that is?
the second last. Oh yeah, I think it was the wasn't that the confrontation scene with Batman and the Riddler, or was it the
No, no, like the last time we see the Riddler. But I don't want to say more than that unless you don't want to spoil.
Oh yes, um, it was that scene like when he's
Like, are we can go into that spoiler too, or
yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that spoiler, and then we got to talk. But then there's one thing we cannot leave out of this. So yeah, and basically, are you talking about like the scene like where he talks to the guy like right next to him, like in the cell?
yeah?
Oh, yep, yep.
Okay, so
Riddle
like
me this.
Are we talking that scene now?
We'll do it, man.
Okay, so honestly, I'm like excited about it, but at the time, if I had to pick any scene of the movie, I'm not sure that I loved. It was this scene. Like
Oh,
I don't think the movie was too long. It didn't feel like 3 hours to me, honestly.
right.
But if someone told me, oh, you have to cut a scene, I would say this scene. Like I don't think we needed it really.
Yeah.
It was the one part where it felt like, okay, this is something like all the rest of this movie was feeling like on the level of like those Nolan movies. And then suddenly this scene was like, oh, this is a bit much. Or like, I don't know, this is
They're
something
just
like
trying to
Nolan wouldn't have
set
done.
up stuff or anything.
I mean, I don't think they need maybe if it was okay, I guess then that's the thing too. If it was better, I might have been like okay with it, but I mean, my friend Jason in the chat also like he really didn't like the scene. I don't feel like that. I didn't hate it, but I was kind of like, oh, okay, so we were gonna talk about so the guy in the cell is the Joker.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm kind of like it's such a short scene, it's hard to judge. So I hope I'm wrong when we see him again and that he's awesome. But I wasn't totally feeling the Joker. Totally. I don't know. How about you?
I actually like. I guess the laugh honestly kind of made it a little bit convincing that it was the Joker.
Oh, it was the Joker. No, I mean, I kind of already heard rumors, I guess, that there were already rumors out there that Barry Keoghan from Eternals and stuff was playing the Joker in this new universe. So as soon as I
Oh
kind
boy.
of recognized him, then I'm like, okay, it's the Joker. So yeah,
Yeah, for sure. And
but
I thought that scene was cool, but yeah, I definitely could agree with that.
like I
Take that
think
scene out.
the thing with the Joker is since Heath Ledger, right? Like the only live action version that hasn't felt like a parody of Heath Ledger is Joaquin Phoenix, I
Right.
think. And I know, okay, people hate me when I say this, and they're like, "Oh no, you shouldn't touch the Joker movie. It's its own thing." I'm like, "Yeah, but I can't help but think. Imagine if this movie was a sequel to Joker, and then we get like fully formed Joaquin Phoenix Joker."
Right.
Again, this movie, like, because there were rumors at one point that this movie was going to take place in the '90s. Now that I've seen it, that's obviously not true. There's like social media and stuff, but
Yep.
but yeah, I mean, I think I still think that could have worked. I mean, or at the very least, there's a part of me that's just like, if even if it's not the same universe, even if he's playing a new version of the Joker, I really think
Right.
Joaquin Phoenix was kind of like perfect and has like a perfect kind of look for it.
Right. For sure.
And I
Yeah.
don't know, Barry Keoghan has a bit too much of like just from that little scene. Even though Heath Ledger was actually really young, he might have been younger than Barry Keoghan is in this movie when he played the Joker. He was like literally 27 or 28 or something. But when he
Yep.
played the role and the way they made him up and the way he made his voice sound, he didn't seem like that. He seemed like twice that age almost, right? Like he seemed older than
Yeah.
Batman, I would say, in that movie, even though the actor was younger. Even though Heath
Yeah, for
Ledger's younger
sure.
than Christian Bale, he seemed like I would say as old, if not older, than Batman. Whereas in this, I'm like, okay, Barry Keoghan, he kind of seems like Joker Jr. to me, just from this the thing. I'm like, I don't know. So that's
Oh
one of my
yeah.
issues. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's totally cool, man. I
But
mean,
to be fair, still better than Jared Leto already, I can say that.
oh yeah, for sure.
So
Yeah,
I can give him that
we
much.
don't talk about Suicide Squad, Jared Leto Joker, because that was like, what is this? I need a machine gun. Like, what is that,
Well,
dude?
again, it felt like a parody of Heath Ledger almost.
Yeah, thanks, Warner Brothers. You ruined it.
Yeah, so I hope this one we've seen so little of. I hope I'm wrong, but I just hope this doesn't feel like at all like that when we get him in full force. I mean, I can't imagine with how good this movie was that Matt Reeves would mess up the Joker that bad.
I don't. I have trust in him because he hasn't made a bad movie like at all.
I guess I still need to see it. I think the only movies I've seen of his before this are like the Planet of the Apes ones.
He's also made
I know
Let
there's like
Me In
yeah, which
and
I haven't seen
Cloverfield.
because I'm not good with horror movies. And okay, Cloverfield I haven't seen, but I could probably handle that one.
Yeah, it's found footage horror, so I mean, it shouldn't be that bad for you.
Yeah, I mean, I might. I mean, I'm probably gonna want to check out all of his movies now, just because he just made like my favorite movie now. So I'm like,
And
okay, I'm
yeah,
on the Matt Reeves train. I did really like the Planet of the Apes movies though, and I'm not even a fan of. I haven't seen like really any of the older ones. I'd like to at some point, but that trilogy is really good. I know he only did the second and third, but those are the
Rupert
two.
Wyatt did the first one. Rupert Wyatt did the first one.
Yeah,
Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
yeah. So, but I mean, and Matt Reeves, I think that one was good, but then the Matt Reeves ones, from what I remember, were even better, or at least like I think the second one I remember being the best one.
Yeah, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know, I've only seen those movies like once really, and but I mean, I remember I had a really good time with them, and I thought the third one was really good too.
Yeah, for sure.
It wasn't one of those trilogies where suddenly the third one sucked. It was really good. So I trust Matt Reeves if he's doing like a full trilogy. Like I think they'll all be good.
Yeah, I have good trust in Matt Reeves. And one thing we got to talk about, like before this stream is over, we got to talk about Robert Pattinson as Batman.
So yeah, as Batman when he's in the suit, like I think probably it's just like it's the perfect kind of Batman. I mean, he's a detective and he doesn't seem just like brutish like Ben Affleck does, even though I like Ben Affleck in the role too, but like he's a more like kind of I don't know. I don't want to say it's weird. I'm about to say like delicate Batman, but then he's like beating the shit out of guys, so that's not the right word.
I
But I
want to
mean,
say he's
he's
like a better representation of what Batman is supposed to be.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, he did feel I would say the closest to what maybe like the animated series Batman is like.
But I'm saying like as a representation, like from the comics of Batman.
Yeah. But I mean, you know how people like kind of say that like the Kevin Conroy version is like just the almost definitive version of Batman, right? Like the animated series one.
Yeah,
And I feel like this one, I mean, sure, he didn't have as nearly as deep of a voice, but I mean, the way he acted and stuff was very much when he was in the bat suit, at least, very much felt
yeah, for
like
sure.
that kind of take on it. And then just the fighting, though, I will say, like when he's like, yeah, the fighting, this Batman, like his fighting is the best we've ever seen of a
And
Batman movie.
especially that scene like when he's getting shot at with a bunch of those like machine guns, like in the
Like when
dark.
he's coming down the hall. Oh, that might be my favorite shot. I think it was in the trailer, but it's even better when you
Yeah, it
see it in the
wasn't. It
movie.
wasn't the trailer, but like you see a little bit more of it in the movie, and
Yeah,
I'm
and with the
like,
score, it's just like how it flares up whenever like oh, it was like that's what I mean. Like that's why I don't really get how some people are even like I get if you don't like it as much as The Dark Knight, but The Dark Knight's like one of the best movies ever made. But then I don't know how people are like not saying this is at least as good as like any Marvel movie. I don't know. To me, that's like this is on another level than most blockbusters. I would say like just the way it's made and everything. Like, so I don't know. That's where I'm like really at a loss, and I don't really. I feel like I can't relate to people when they're like, "Oh yeah, it was okay." I'm like, "What? It was amazing." Like if you like The Dark Knight more, okay, fair enough. But just acknowledge this one was amazing.
yeah, you got to acknowledge that because it's so well directed. It's has great shots from Matt Reeves, excellent performances, great production design. Even I can't overlook the production design in the movie.
Yeah, I'm wondering. I don't know. Some people are thinking that this is gonna get some Oscars. I'm still skeptical because very rarely do these kind of movies do well at the. I mean, I think it'll get some nominations. I mean, makeup's probably the one it has the most in the bag
Well, mostly
because of
like,
Colin
but if it
Farrell.
was makeup, it mostly would have to go from for Colin Farrell's makeup of the movie
I mean, I think that's all they need. Like this
because
movie. I mean, the first Suicide Squad won Best Makeup and Hairstyling.
and then
If that, if
the Suicide Squad didn't get nominated.
Well, yeah, well, that's the crazy thing. I guess the way the Oscars work, it's not just about what's the best. It's also they got to be the best, and they gotta have a really good campaign. Like they got a campaign to get nominated.
Oh yeah,
And from what I've
so yeah,
heard, I
definitely.
think
So
Warner
I think
Brothers
the
just
Suicide
didn't put.
Squad definitely was not campaigned well.
Well, yeah, they didn't because the movie didn't make any money, right? So they didn't want to put any more money into campaigning for it to win Oscars. Whereas the first Suicide Squad, even though it's terrible, it made money, so they still did a campaign for it. Whereas the Suicide Squad, yeah, I mean, I think that movie should have been nominated for visual effects. I think other than Dune, that was probably the best visual effects of last year.
I agree. Actually, I mean, it was my second. It was my second favorite movie of last year. I mean,
Yeah,
I
probably for me too. I think we have different number ones, but I think it would be my number two probably.
Yeah, yours your number one's No Time to Die. Mine was Last Night in Soho.
Yeah, yeah, and I'd say the Suicide Squad's probably also my number two. So it
Yeah,
was actually the movie I've watched the most. Not the most in theaters, but I mean I've seen it like 8 times now
I've
with the
seen it like
Blu-ray and
about
stuff.
3 times. I watched it once in theaters, once on HBO Max, and then I watched it again on New Year's Eve.
I saw it
Um,
5 times in theaters and 3 times on Blu-ray.
yeah,
But I don't know. I'm getting a little out of control, and I think I didn't. I used to go like 3 times maybe to a movie in theaters, but like since we've come out on the other side of COVID, I'm
yeah.
going like 4 to 6 times.
like, did you? How many times did you see Uncharted? Did you just only see it that one time?
I saw it 4 times.
Oh my god! I only saw it once, and that was like the weekend before I saw the Batman.
So I don't know. It wasn't again like a lot of times though. I'm like it's not even just based on how good I think the movie is. Like I get my tickets for some of these like for the first 3 or 4 times before the movie's even out, and I'm just like yeah, that's how many times I'm going. But I'm just like a diehard Uncharted fan, so I was like, "Okay, good or bad, I'm like, if there's any video game movie I've ever been excited for, it's this one." So I'm just gonna go a bunch of times because I want to see Uncharted on the big screen.
Yeah, and my best friend is like the biggest Uncharted geek you'll like ever come across. Like anything, like you ask him anything Uncharted, he will tell you about. Like he knows everything about Uncharted. So I wanted to go see the movie with him, but he said that it's not really what he's expecting because of the casting choice of Tom Holland as Nathan Drake.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still kind of like I get it, but on some level, I almost feel like okay, Mark Wahlberg is Sully. I get that one's weird, but like I actually never fully got the. To some extent, I get it, but I don't really get how people fully think like Tom Holland, oh, he's just not like we're talking about a young Nathan Drake. I mean, I don't know.
Exactly, and
To me, like if you play the games, he
well,
does seem
plus
to me like a young Nathan Drake. I don't know.
plus like Mark
Again,
Wahlberg was also casted to play as Nathan Drake at one point. So I'm glad he still got the like an acting job for the movie.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, honestly, I prefer Tom Holland at least as a Nathan. I mean, it's hard to cast like a fully formed Nathan Drake because video game characters are already so distinctive that anyone's
Right.
going to seem kind of off. But I mean, since they were going the younger route, I thought, oh, that's a good idea. So we won't compare it as 1 to 1. And I thought, as far as the younger Nathan Drake goes, I mean, my friends who don't like Uncharted as much as me always joke about how, oh, how come Nathan Drake, like, why is he a superhero? He jumps around like he's Spider Man. And then I'm like, oh, well, it's kind of true. So they literally cast Spider Man as him. So yeah, I don't know. Okay, now we're going off
That
on
is
a
true,
Spider
actually.
Man Nathan Drake thing now, but we should probably get back to Batman, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah, but I was just gonna ask that question first, like before, because we were about to wrap up in a couple seconds, like about this discussion, because well, we talked quite a bit about a few scenes that were kind of some major spoilers, but you know what? It's been a blast. Like talking about the best film so far of 2022. Like I almost thought for a second, like when I was going into this movie, I was like, is this really gonna top Jackass Forever as the best movie of the year for me? And I was like, well, it did.
Okay, I didn't have that I didn't have that question going in, but yeah. I don't know. I've never
like
seen a
no,
Jackass movie, so I can't really speak to it.
I well, it's an acquired taste. I'll tell you that. It's an acquired taste.
Yeah, but like even if you like love those movies, how do you I mean you can't from what I know about them, you can't really even like judge them the same way you judge other movies. Right? Like I mean,
They're just like for
they're just
like
stunts, right?
yeah, they're just a bunch of skits and everything. And plus, I don't I don't look at this films with a critical standpoint. I always just view them for enjoyment.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know almost how you could like view those with a
If you
credit. I
judge
mean,
the
from to
Jackass
be fair,
movies
I haven't seen
critically, you
them.
really don't like if you just judge the Jackass movies critically, you really have no point.
No, I'm
Like,
just sorry. I'm seeing John's comments again. He
oh yeah, that's
says
right.
I'm too nice for the Jackass movies because I'm Canadian.
I there are some people in Canada that love Jackass, but if anybody knows me personally, I'm a huge fan of Jackass.
Yeah,
So
I think I saw you were doing like a Jackass 3 watch along last night. I'm like, okay, I don't know. I'm not gonna have no idea what I'm watching if I tune into this. So I'll just I'll just wait
but
for the stream that I know what I'm talking about.
yeah, for sure. And I'm definitely gonna do 3.5 sometime next week because we're doing every single one leading up to Jackass Forever.
Oh wow.
Because because one of my friends didn't really know much about Jackass, so I got introduced to it. So
Oh nice. Did you get any, just curious, did you get any cool collectibles or anything for Batman?
not
They had some pretty sweet ones at my theaters. They had
haven't
like
yet though, but I'm actually planning
the
on
cup. It's really hard to know where I'm pointing this, but yeah, this is
there
like
it is. I see
probably
it
the
right there.
nicest topper I've gotten so far. Like they have a lot of these, but he's even got like a cape that bends and everything.
That's cool. Yeah, and plus I was actually thinking about buying a poster to hang up on my wall for the Batmans
Oh man,
because
I want to I want, like, I've got a few posters I've got over the years that are like, there's actually a place I know now that's like they have like real movie posters, and so some of them are expensive, but I get them
yeah,
sometimes
I
from
actually
rebates.
have a few posters that were from the theater. Like
Nice, yeah.
like if you couldn't tell like for some of the reviews like where I've been standing up, you couldn't tell that I actually have I can move the camera. I actually have a little malignant poster right over here. And there's the
Nice,
one
nice.
for Candyman right over there. And I even
Yeah,
got a
I've
couple
got
posters for. I got one for Shang-Chi and Godzilla versus Kong. I actually have posters for both of those.
nice, yeah. I've got, yeah, I guess what are the I guess, yeah, my friend actually Jamie, who was in the chat, she used to work at the theater, and she did get me some for like the ones that she got me. So I got these ones for free. Were like No Time to Die and Black Widow and Tenet, I think.
Yeah, and I also have a couple posters that I also got from the theater that I haven't hung up yet. You get one for the Night House, and also like before I even got into the movie, I grabbed one right away because I know how much I was gonna love it. Was actually Jackass Forever,
And I guess
and it
yeah, and
was
then
the
oh yeah,
and
sorry, and I was yeah, and I do have like one for the Dark Knight, which the Dark Knight and the Snyder Cut, which those ones I did not get for free though, so they were a little pricey. But yeah, I think I want one for the Batman.
yeah, no, when the one I got the stunt that's on the poster for Jackass Forever is the one where Johnny Knoxville is getting shot out of a cannon, basically doing the flight of Icarus stunt, where he gets shot out of a cannon and then lands in the water. And he said that he actually could not even sit down for 2 weeks after that stunt.
Wow, wow,
Because yeah,
and
Knoxville has gotten a lot of injuries. I'll tell you that. I mean, like even the one in Jackass Forever. I mean, I know this is technically kind of a spoiler, but this is actually what happened in real life. So,
oh yeah, you
um,
mentioned you like sprained something.
the stunt with the magic trick where he poured milk into a top hat, basically in front of a bull to see what would happen. When the bull charged at him, he actually did like a flip, landed on his back where it broke his wrist, broke his rib, and also he got a concussion and suffered a brain hemorrhage.
Damn.
And like if you hear him like snoring for a minute, um, that's actually him trying to swallow his tongue.
Why?
That's because of the concussion, like since he got a concussion. The dude
Damn.
has suffered 16 concussions.
Man, I hope it's worth it for him. I guess it is. I don't know.
He said it was. I love the
But
dude as it is anyway. So,
I
but
guess
yeah, guys,
oh, I was just gonna ask which Batman poster would you want if you got one? The one
I
I
was
really
thinking,
like is the one that's just like pretty much like what's on this cup. Like, this is the poster version. Like that one.
oh,
You've seen that poster where it's like
that's
the
the poster
silhouette.
right there. That was also the one that was at the theater.
Yeah, like this reminds me. I love like the red scheme and everything. This reminds me of like the animated series and everything, like the red skies and everything.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yep,
But
I
yeah,
love that
literally
poster artwork.
even got like the legit action figures and everything. I don't know if you could see them before as well, but yeah, I haven't bought like a full set of action figures before a movie for a while.
Yep. But yeah, Eric, thank you so much for coming on and talking some Batman with me. So, and also tell the people in the chat where they can find you.
Oh yeah, I guess you can just find me at my channel, right there, Eric Thorpe Reviews on YouTube, and yeah, I mean, I'm probably that'll be my next video. I've started like kind of working on just the script and stuff for like my own kind of just more scripted out kind of spoiler review for the Batman, because it's a movie I have a lot to say about. So even though we talked for like an hour, I think there's always more I'm gonna have to say on it.
Absolutely there, my friend. And again, thank you so much for coming on. And also go subscribe to his channel. He's getting near 100 subscribers, so let's get him to that mark here fairly soon. And also, let's get my channel to 200. I'm getting close to that mark as well. So subscribe to me and Eric. Hit the like button for both of us. We'll see you guys next time. Have a good night.